Let's start with Bismillah. Inshallah, we will talk about the name Ar-Rahim, the one who adheres to making dhikr by mentioning this name. This will lead to him having mercy and empathy in his heart by the will of Allah. Once a man came to the Prophet ﷺ complaining of the hardness of his heart. The Prophet ﷺ told him, "Wipe the orphan's head, be kind to him and feed him from your food, and your heart will soften and you will realize your need." This means that this is one of the reasons. Also among the reasons is to mention Allah by saying Bismillahir Rahim, and also to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Among its blessings is that if one mentions it a specific number of times, such as saying the Basmalah 1000 times, this helps for gaining sustenance and being granted one's needs by the will of Allah. So if one says Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim 1000 times with a sincere intention, inshallah, he will be granted his need. The meaning of Ar-Rahim is the one who is merciful to the believers only in the hereafter. The word Rahman has 5 letters, whereas the word Rahim has 4 letters. The scholars say that additional letter in the word has an additional meaning. So when talking about the name Ar-Rahman, we mentioned that it means that the mercy of Allah encompasses both the believer and the disbeliever in this world, but it is exclusive to the believer in the hereafter. As for Ar-Rahim, it means the one who is merciful to the believers only in the hereafter. So it is not allowed for us to ask Allah to be merciful to a person who died on disbelief. Islam is the only religion that Allah accepts. This is the religion we are ordered to believe in. Allah Ta'ala said, وَمَن يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَن يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. The verse means whoever chooses a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from him, and he will be among the losers on the Day of Judgment. As for what was mentioned about the hypocrite Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, whom the Prophet performed the funeral prayer on him after he died, that was because this person used to pretend to be a believer. So the Prophet thought that this person was no longer a disbeliever, but that he had embraced Islam. After the Prophet performed the funeral prayer on that man, Allah revealed the verse وَلَا تُصَلِّ عَلَى أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ مَاتَ أَبَدًا وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَى قَبْرِهِ. So the Prophet ﷺ knew then that this person had died on disbelief. Had he known that before, he would not have performed the funeral prayer on him, for the Prophet knows that one is not allowed to do that on the one who died as a disbeliever. Allah said, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. We do not encompass the count of the endowments of Allah upon us. Some endowments are apparent to us, such as our hands, our body, the breath we take, the sun, the cold water, and there are endowments that are not apparent, such as for the sins to be covered. The correct belief the Muslim has in his heart is the greatest endowment he could have in this life. It is better than being granted health or wealth. Also among the endowments of Allah is for one to be guided to fulfill the obligations and to refrain from the sins. So if one is granted Islam, no other endowment in this life equates this endowment. As for the hereafter, the greatest endowment for the Muslim is seeing Allah, unlike the creation is seen. For as we often say in the lessons that our Lord is not like his creation. God is not a body, and he does not have bodily attributes. He is not in need of any of his creation. He exists without a place, as he did before creating all places and directions. So the believers, they would be in paradise, but Allah exists without a place. They will see Allah without Him having a shape or a form, and without there being a distance between them. God is not in the heavens. He exists without a place. Allah enables the believers who will be in paradise to see His being without Him having a body and without Him being in a place or a direction. They will see the one who is not like any of the creation. Brothers and sisters, let us be merciful to one another. The Prophet ﷺ was the most merciful human. Even though he did not read or write, yet he was the most knowledgeable human, the most merciful human, and the best creation of Allah. We should always take him as our role model.